So, here we are today. Now, in 2009, we were at the house. Now, Tony has uncles and everything like that, and a couple of this family are kind of split in everywhere. So, he hadn't seen his uncle in years. His mom hadn't seen it, which is his mom's brother. They hadn't seen him in years, eons, okay? Didn't know where he was, nothing like that. I was working out in Hunt Valley at the time. I told Tony about this market called Wegmans. So Tony told his mom and them about this supermarket called Wegmans that's out in Hunt Valley. So they one day decided to take a trip out to Wegmans and run into their uncle that they have not seen in years. So it falls in Tony's spirit when his mom tells him about the house. Oh my goodness, okay. I feel like we're about to be moving, and I want to move, and I believe our next move is going to be out in the county. I believe that it's going to be out in the county, out Montgomery County. I'm going to look for places. So the next available time was in March. Wow. If God placed in Tony's spirit, I believe that his lease, if he's in an apartment, is going to be up at that time. I'm like, okay, let's tell him, let's go. I ain't talked to the man in years, Nicole. I can't. Oh, if God is telling you this, just go with it. No, okay, all right, let me calm down. So they have him over for dinner. We all go to dinner. I'm like, are you going to tell him? Are you going to tell him? No, I'm not going to tell him. Calm down. Wives, be calm. Let God work under the leading of the husband, of the head. God speaks to him too. We don't know it all, okay? He tell us some stuff. He tell them some stuff. So they got it. So I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there like, God. So, he had shared with me, I feel like for some reason that his lease is going to be up. His lease is going to be up. And I feel like his lease is going to be up in March. So we're sitting at the dinner table and they're eating and I'm sitting up here like, okay. So then he begins to talk and Tony says, yeah, because we're in the house, that, Mom used to live in or whatever. He was like, yeah, I really, I had a dream about that house and I felt like, we was going to be living in that house. And Tony was like, wow, really? Because I would like to move you in the house. And, the crazy thing is, Tony called, I believe, Country Place, the place that we moved from, set up an available move-in date before he had even talked to him by faith. I'm like, okay, we have a move-in date to move out this house to Montgomery County at this time, and you're feeling like in your spirit, God said March to move. We have a moving date, etched in stone, at this place. Haven't even talked to this man. We're sitting at the dinner table. He sits up there and says, okay, yes, I would love to move in the house. Our lease is up in March. Nobody but God. If you aren't a believer, listen. Yes. So, here it is. We can move out on the date. Everything's etched in stone. Getting the monies together. Boom, bam, boom, bam. Or whatever like that. But, God had wiped the slate clean, right? But he did it. We were out of the hole. But now the payments were still a lot because at this time Tony was still on disability. Tony was still trying to find a job. So again, the payments were getting backed up somewhat again. We were like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? I need another job, God. I need another job. I've been looking since 2005. I've been looking since 2006. I've been looking since 2007. As soon as he graduated, God blessed him with the job. Boom. Okay? Blah. They're moving in. Blah. But the rent is too much for them. The most they can pay is the $800, and the rent has been now raised to $1,600. Okay. Wow. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? keep taking their money. Keep on pressing on. Keep sending it in. Keep making sure, we don't know how much we're going to be in the hole then. Because, we can't afford to pay the rent, there. But here's a family. We all moved on faith. We didn't, do any wrong intentions to them or have them move. They moved in. They aren't even really going to church, like that. They are believers, but I'm like, God, all the way around, you're just building our faith. He was like, okay, if you have faith and believe that God is going to, work this out for the mortgage, then we'll move in off the strength of your godly faith. What? Okay, so they move in knowing that the rent is way more than what they couldn't afford. And we know that we know that we know. That's why you have to be led by God, first of all. We know that we know that we know that we cannot afford to pay that rent. And we can't afford to pay the rent where we're staying, an additional to what would be left over. So we say we're going to have to go in for another modification. God, you already supernaturally worked this thing out and like wiped the slate clean. And now the payment is a couple hundred more than what it was before. God, we need you again, God. You are not an Indian giver. 2009 goes by. Woo! Praying and fasting and sowing. 2010 goes by. Praying and fasting and sowing and believing in God by faith. 2011. Yesterday. It's so much more to the story. But we got the papers back yesterday saying that the rent is $712.21 for the single family home, 2 bedrooms, basement, upstairs, first 3 floors, basement, upstairs, the second floor, bathroom. That house we were living in, God made provision because we went and trusted him by faith. 2 years went by, but we had faith. We did not give up. We did not sit up there and say, oh, we're going to have to send them a letter and telling them they're going to just have to move out. We're going to have to move back into the house and then figure out how we're going to pay this rent. God is a miracle worker. And while we were in the prayer and we were fasting, I put in there while Tony and I were praying, oh, and God, if you can do me a favor, because I believe you can do it, take it down. Take it down to even what they can afford. Take it down. Make it the lowest you can, God, just to show how bad you are. And my God, 7/12/21. When there is something that seems like it is just a burden on you, and it has been heavy, and it seems like for years and years and years and years, this thing has been a thorn in your side. I'm just here. Get it together. I'm just here to tell you that God can work it out. God is a faithful God. So many things were hit. We were hit with so many things. The doctor tried to say my husband had skin cancer. The doctors tried to say that he had a heart condition that have taken people out. We have been hit with custody battles. We have been hit with foreclosure. But everything that the enemy tries to hit us with, we come out victorious. Because we serve a great and mighty God, an awesome God, and we walk in favor. And I want to encourage you, no matter how long you have been waiting, God has not forgotten you. Be blessed.